everybody, I'm Pia from Stitches and Scraps. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet this pretty three-dimensional flower stitch. The flower stitch is a three-dimensional stitch that's worked around the posts of 2 double crochets. Let's say that we want to work our first flower around these 2 double crochet stitches. So what we do, we identify the 2 stitches that we need, and then we're going to start with the second one. So turn your work a little bit so that you can work into and around the post of this second double crochet. And I like to actually fold it over so that that stitch is sitting on top and I can work into it easily. But you don't have to fold it over if you want to see it better. We're going to work around the post like this, okay? The first thing we're going to do is slip stitch. This is why I fold it. The first thing we're going to do is slip stitch. And now I am going to fold it because now I've marked my spot here, okay? Now we're going to make petals. And different patterns may make the petals in different ways. The petal that I like to make is chain 2, 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then slip stitch. And that right there is 1 flower petal. Now normally I like to do 3 flower petals on this side and 3 flower petals on this side. You could do just 2 on each side if you wanted to, or if you have a different yarn or a bigger stitch, if you have enough room, you can do more petals, and they will kind of curl up on each other if you fit a whole lot in there. But here is another one. So chain 2, 2 double crochet, chain 2, and slip stitch back into that same space created by the double crochet, that same post. Chain 2. See how they're starting to fold on each other? The more you put in, the more ruffled it's going to get. 2 double crochet, chain 2, and slip stitch right back into that same post. And there are the first 3 petals of my flower. Now, like I said, I could do more petals if I wanted to. I could chain 2, scoot all those over, and squish another petal in here. Okay, and I could keep doing that as much as I want. The more petals you put in, the more ruffled your flower is going to get. So let's stick with 3 for a nice flat flower. Say that 10 times fast. A nice flat flower. Now we've done our 3 petals around the second double crochet. Remember, there were 2 double crochets, and now it's time to work into the first one, which is right here. So we want to turn our work around to get to that one. Let me lay it flat so you can see it again. There's that first double crochet, and buried in here is the second one. Okay? We've just finished working around that one. So now I want to turn to get to this one. One thing to be careful of is when you turn, don't trap this working yarn behind your chain space. See, if I did anything now, it would pull everything over because it's trapped behind the chain space. Make sure that you're turning in such a way, which is usually clockwise. Make sure that you're turning so that the yarn stays in front and right there where you want it, and doesn't wrap around everything else going on in your work. So I've turned, and now I can work into this first double crochet. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Go around the post and slip stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Now I told you this is the petal that I like, chain 2 and slip stitch, right? This is the petal that I like, but you can make modifications in your petal as well. Just like you can have more petals, you could do just 1 double crochet for a pointier petal and then do a bunch more petals, to make it more like, maybe, I don't know flowers that well, but maybe a chrysanthemum or something that has more pointier petals and more of them. Or you can do 3 double crochet for a rounder petal. You could do just 2 petals, you could do 3 petals. There's lots of different variations. If you are working a pattern that has this flower stitch in it, it should tell you exactly how they want you to do it. For this project, for this tutorial, we are doing 2 chains, 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and then slip stitch back down around that post. Okay, and it gets a little tight in here. Feel free to slide things over a little bit. And then again, 2 chains, 2 double crochets, and 2 chains, and then slip stitch. Now to close the flower, some people will put in an additional slip stitch. You could do an additional slip stitch into this first slip stitch that you worked, or you could do a slip stitch into, if you're good about it, you can go behind the flower and go into the actual double crochet that you first worked around. Like this to close it, but I don't find that 100% necessary depending on what you're doing on the next round. Like if you were ending this here, okay, maybe you want to do that closing stitch, but if you're not ending it here, you can skip that. So normally you want to put some space between your flowers, so you'll see something like chain 3 or chain 5, skip a bunch of stitches, and then go do another flower over here, because you can see it's quite a big stitch. So if I did another flower over here, they would be touching. So you'll see various ways. I've got a pattern I'm working on right now where I did a chain 3, skipped 2, or I think I skipped 3, I don't remember, but I skipped a couple stitches, did a single crochet, did another chain 3, and then put my flower down here so that there was actually some space between the flowers. So that is another thing that will vary from pattern to pattern. But the basic gist of the flower stitch is working a series of petals around 1 double crochet, then switching and working a series of petals around the other double crochet, and that makes a flower stitch. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, or leave me a comment. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel for more great videos. Thanks for watching.